Yeah, baby, we're back with another NYCFC at home with the Cooligans, presented by El Jimador.
Let's go. Welcome back. Yeah, it's unfortunately we had to watch games of the MLS's Back Tournament without NYCFC. And
But
we
we
got
share. That's what we do. All right, we'll let you play. You try. You guys try to win this little trophy, and then we gonna prepare for the big one.
That's right, because the MLS regular season is starting right back up again after the tournament.
I actually heard they're gonna change the name to the MLS regular season is back. Hashtag.
Okay. Yeah, your sources are telling you that's what is going on. But look, this is phase one of the Major League Soccer season returning. We know there's going to be 18 games, playoffs, and things are starting to feel as normal as they could possibly be.
Exactly. And it's one of those things where, all right, now let's see what happens, right? Baby steps. We're taking it in phases. I like it. The Canadian teams are going to play in Canada. The New York teams are going to play close to New York, you know what I mean? And then some of the other Canadian teams are also coming. We're going to have our own little bubble out here. It's going to be dope.
Okay. I think the American players are going to start saying "a" all the time, It's going to be a lot of communication with I think they're going to start learning some French Canadian.
Yeah, dude, it's going to be dope. They're going to be like, why is this Canadian, why is this bacon so thin and like a belt? I prefer mine round all of a sudden.
But yeah, look, first game back for NYCFC is gonna be a Hudson River derby. So there's no pausing. Okay, we're going just ramping full speed into the MLS season.
It's like as comedians, this is like starting your set with your closer. You know what I mean? You're starting with a Hudson River derby right off the rip. Okay.
All right, so let's do it. Let's take an inside look.
Which, by the way, presented by Adidas. All right, shouts to Adidas, yo.
All right, let's take a look at the Hudson River Derby. NYCFC will be taking on the New York Red Bulls. So this game is happening Thursday, August 20th at 7 p.m.
Yep.
And look, let's start with we were making a couple jokes about games at Rebel Arena. Look, NYCFC will be playing their matches at Rebel Arena, but when we look at this matchup in particular, NYCFC had a better run of form at the MLS's Back Tournament, and they would have to be the favorites here just based on the body of work that we've already seen so far. But we always know these matches, both these teams very, very much want to win this game.
I almost think it doesn't matter, right? It's like this is one of those matches, and even without fans, it's still going to be a very spirited atmosphere, we'll say, because you know how the players be when it comes to these matches. But I think what's important about the Hudson River Derby is so significant to the players and to the fans that like both teams could be coming in there playing horrifically and it would still be a great match and you still would have no idea who's going to win. And I actually think that's what I love so much about this derby. It's not like other derbies around the world or Clásicos around the world where sometimes one team is so much better than the other or you can kind of tell who's going to win. It almost doesn't matter. It's like everything is cleared for this. Like these dates are usually circled on the calendar. There really was no calendar this year. So as soon as they found it, they quickly circled it. But it's an important match. And it's going to set up how the rest of these matches are going to go. Because right after that, Monday, August 24th at 7 p.m., we're playing the Columbus Crew. Saturday, August 29th at 7:30, we're playing Chicago Fire. Then Wednesday, on September 2nd, we got New England Revolution. Sunday, September 6th, we got DC United. Saturday, September 12th, we got FC Cincinnati, which has played a lot better than what you would expect. There's literally, Columbus Crew, a lot of people would say probably the best team in that entire MLS is back, or certainly the most explosive. Chicago Fire played strongly. New England Revolution, they got Bruce Arena. DC United, never an easy club to play. FC Cincinnati, all of a sudden you two are going to be good,
Yeah.
There's no relaxation there.
Just how we had a lot of unpredictability in the MLS's Back Tournament. We had really no idea who could possibly win the whole thing. The Portland Timbers ended up doing it, but even just the fact that Orlando was there, the Eastern Conference especially is there's new sort of powerhouses, and there's been enough changes where kind of anybody could come out of the Eastern Conference to make it to the MLS Cup final.
Yeah, it seems like there's no easy matches. It seems like everyone you're going to go up against has the opportunity to win on that day, which is going to be it's going to be a fun thing to watch.
Yeah, it used to be, we're playing Orlando, all right, 3 points in the books, let's go.
Take it easy. We don't even need to train this week,
but not anymore. So I'm excited about this game. I know that as far as the Red Bulls, one big change that I think will really affect the locker room is the trade of Alex Mule, who went to Nashville. And Alex Mule has been with the team since NYCFC started and has played in a lot of derbies and been a big factor in plenty of the games. And I think taking out that kind of intensity is beneficial for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And you don't know. I think they have some new players coming in, but it's probably a positive for us that the team that's going to play Red Bulls has been together for a while. They bonded down in Orlando, and Red Bull have some new players coming in. They have some changes that they sort of have to adjust. That may be a little bit of a benefit for us. Hopefully, I think it's going to be a tough match altogether. I think it's going to be one of these like 1-0.
Yeah, the new Red Bulls players will have to they will have to explain the significance of the derby to them, while the game is going on, and so we have the leg up there.
Absolutely. Hopefully, you're right. All right, and we have our guest here. We've got the Yes Network play-by-play announcer for your NYCFC, ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Joe Tolleson. Everybody.
It is a pleasure to be in such exalted company.
Where are they? Are they behind? Are they behind your computer? Thank you for coming on with us, man. This is great.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes, Joe. Thank you so much. So I guess the first thing, it's an honor to be speaking to the voice of NYCFC. I mean, you've been with the club a long time. What's been the experience like for you? I know you are very much a soccer guy. You've been around MLS for a long time. What has been starting with a new club and getting in its infancy and being kind of, that recognizable voice for the team? What has that been like for you so far?
It's been exciting, and I've had the rare opportunity to do it twice because I was the original voice for the Metro Stars back in 1996. So I got to go through that same process. What has made it a little bit different here is it's a very different league. When New York City came in 2015, and even in the 5 years since, as what the early days of MLS is like, you talk to some of the coaches, players, broadcasters, anybody who was involved in 96, 97, 98, all of that. There's some interesting stories. I mean, my favorite is the very first game the Metro Stars played was out in LA at the Rose Bowl, which until Atlanta a couple of years ago, that was the highest attended regular season game in MLS history with 69,000 people. We were met at the airport due to a, quote, transportation mix-up. We'll believe them on this, even 25 years later. A yellow school bus, kid you not, yellow school bus met the team at the airport.
Only the finest transportation. They were like, we tried to get a white school bus, but they only gave us the yellow. That's the mix-up.
Only yellow.
When you look at sort of, I mean, in your career of calling games, what's happening now, much like everything else in the world, it's got to be radically different. What's the prospect like? Have you called a match from home, and what's it like? What's your setup like? Are you watching the same thing we're watching?
Well, I haven't called anything from home. Okay. I've called plenty of games off the monitor in my career. I did a lot of stuff for ESPN that went everywhere in the world except here. And we were in a little room up in Bristol, Connecticut. There's always those moments, especially in those games, where I feel like saying, folks, I'm sorry I can't tell you exactly what's going on, but I'm seeing the exact same thing you are.
You're calling the commercials?
Really well, no, because you talk to friends and they're like, oh, you must have like 5 monitors up with all these different camera angles. And like, nope, what you see, I see. That's it.
Yeah.
And, little insider's trick for everybody out there. If you're watching a game and you're wondering, and you haven't seen the pre or post game yet because you haven't been able to see if they show them on camera or not. If you just jump in the middle of the game and you're not sure, is it live or is it Memorex as it used to be, right? Are they in the stadium or not? Wait for an offside call and wait and see if the announcers sort of, okay, stoppage and play, what did the team do here? And then they don't tell you it's offside. until you see at the same time the linesman with his flag up. Yeah. If that happens, chances are they're not in the stadium.
That's how you know. Okay.
I love a good Memorex reference. Wow, that's even past my time.
Man, dude, you're aging yourself a little bit, Joe.
Oh, we can get plenty of things in the Wayback Machine. Don't you worry. I still miss my flip phone.
Wow.
not quite the Kyle Beckerman story. Who he told me that he kind of realized he had sort of made it when he first signed in MLS. He was able to trade in his pager for a cell phone.
Wow. God, he's been in the league that long?
He has, 2000.
Wow. Unbelievable. Yeah. I'm surprised he didn't keep the pager.
He played for the Miami Fusion.
That's a good point. Yeah. Which people right now are like, what league is that in? Buddy, Google it. There's a couple documentaries about it.
Joe, your thoughts on the MLS Back Tournament for NYCFC and maybe the tournament as a whole? I know obviously this has been kind of surreal, but how do you think NYCFC fared while they were there?
Well, I'll have to admit, and this is kind of without a doubt the geeky part of me, the stuff I enjoyed, which I'd always point out to my wife, see, look now, would be when they'd go to the corner kick shot, and all of a sudden the Jumbotron behind the goal was gone. The Jumbotron and all the ads along the sideline were gone. I go, it's all virtual. It's all virtual.
None of this is real, dude.
But let's call it for what it was. Okay, this was an opportunity for MLS to get things going, to take advantage of a sports landscape that at the time, aside from the NWSL, was vacant. Let's get in. But here was an opportunity where nothing else in a way was going on, that they could showcase their product. And it also bought them some time. Let's go down to Orlando or wherever they decided to have the tournament, in this case, Orlando. Let's create this bubble. Let's do this whole tournament. It buys us a month. And as we have known from when this all started in March to this point, a lot can change when you're dealing with this COVID-19 situation in a month's time. They're still not 100% sure how solid everything is. That's why there's this phase one of the restart in the home markets where there's only 6 games, because they're not sure what's going to happen by mid-September, and they'll roll that out as it goes. But so for what it was, I think it worked. It was a little odd to me that the group stage were really in the big picture the games that mattered, because they were the ones that still count towards the regular season for the bulk of the fans watching. And the only downside to that was these were the teams still kind of getting into match fitness, like you see in any kind of preseason leading into, the games at the very beginning of the MLS's Back Tournament weren't so great. By the end, they were some pretty good games to watch. And overall, it was still, just what a way, you got to feel for Ronnie Dyla to come in as the head coach. First, he got hired a little late, the preseason, thrust into this, and then all of a sudden shut it all down, try and start it back up. I feel for the guy. It's got to be a tough situation to manage.
What do you think of some of the changes that have been instituted? I feel like we've seen, I would almost guess to say, I think we've seen almost 3 different formations and styles of play, really, from Costa Rica all the way through to the end of the tournament. For us, what do you think so far of the Ronnie Dyla system? What do you think? How do you think the team has played? You've watched pretty much every team play from the beginning. What do you think?
Well, right now, again, as much as I feel for Ronnie on the situation he's been put in, 2 things. I feel for him in the sense of this is a talented team. Okay, he's inherited a team that he had to make very little changes to, and you could put out a starting 11, which oftentimes they do, are players who have been on this roster for the last year or 2, if not more. So there's consistency in the lineup. So I feel for him in the sense of, these guys can score, but it's just not happening. I mean, you get 28 shots in a game, 12 or something on target, and you can only come up with a goal. I mean, how about this? So they won the first CONCACAF Champions League game over San Carlos 5-3. After that game, every game they have played since, the score has either been 1-0 or 3-1, and it just depends on what side of the scoreline New York City's on. Those are the only 2 scorelines we've seen in these games. And unfortunately, at times, they've been shut out or they've only had the 1 goal in the 3-1 loss, like to Portland. But I think it has to be frustrating for Ronnie Dyla of why aren't we getting the goals? At the same point, you're a coach who's put in some tweaks to the system, and all those guys admit it. Yeah, he's changed things a little bit. On a side note, almost to a man, every player you talk to seems to love his approach and his enthusiasm and the fact that he's kind of in it. But for Ronnie, I think part of it now is you've made some changes, but figure out, one, who is your starting 11 for New York City. Sean Johnson's in goal, right? And you're going to have Matarrita, Collins, Chanot, and Anton.
I was actually going to put Matrica in goal. Am I messing up here?
Well, you know what? It's an avant-garde approach to things. Maybe that's where we'll
Let's
get the best
check the Memorex.
But when everybody's healthy, I think right away you're writing down Morales, Sands, and Ring in the midfield.
Yeah.
So who do you put up front? And in a way, what Jesus Medina did in the MLS's Back Tournament, it almost throws a monkey wrench in the whole thing, because now there's somebody else that you're going to, I think when we ended last season, I don't know that right away we're going, hey, you got to consider Medina for a starting spot. Now you're thinking you have to consider Medina for a starting
good, right?
spot.
Competition and training. That's good.
Well, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Without a doubt. But I think it's just trying to figure out, what is that ideal trio up front? Is it Matrica, Eber, and Tajuri Shradi? Is it Medina and Castellanos? And you can mix and match that almost any way.
How about four up top? Let's just throw them all in. I want chaos, Joe.
So who do you?
Well, and it's funny you say chaos, and we talk. And if you want to make it a little more of a chaos problem to figure out, where do you fit Keaton Parks into this bunch? I personally, I like the kid. I like the way he plays. I like the height that he brings into a game and that advantage. And, like they used to always say, oh, he's a good old-fashioned center forward. Is that the kind, do you stick him up front in a way and flank him with Castellanos?
He'd be a great target, man, now that you bring it up.
But that's what I mean. So there's a lot of different options.
All right, Joe, 5 up top.
Now, but no, because the way it is right now, is he a regular? Is he a guy that you really consider to break into those three in the midfield?
You know what's
but so
he also is
a lot that you can do with it.
So. Yeah, I almost see him as a 7-foot version of Maxi Morales, right? I feel like he's like that's the good one-to-one sub. He's good on the ball. And for being as big as he is, he's it's not that easy to get the ball away from him.
And he tracks back really well.
Yeah.
So it's great to have him in the midfield.
Because they only got to take 5 strides.
he's on stilts. Let's talk a little bit about the schedule. We got matches coming up against, obviously, Red Bull. That's going to be a big one. Any thoughts on the derby?
It's going to be, two things. One, we're excited, Ian and Ian Joy, because this is going to be the first regular season Hudson River Derby we actually get to do.
Oh, okay.
Every single one before has always been ESPN or FS1. So we finally get a chance to do one of these when it counts. So we're excited about that. The flip side is it's going to be a little weird doing it in an empty stadium. So we'll see how that
Maybe
goes.
It'll make it easier to understand Ian when he speaks, because that accent.
Yeah, I don't get it. Everybody has a problem with this Southern California accent that he enjoys.
That's the problem. It's true.
The guy was born in San Diego, and nobody can understand a word he says. No, he's a right good lad. It's not a problem understanding a thing he says. It's grand.
See, that's why you understand him.
Absolutely.
When he gets excited, I'm like, are consonants no longer going to be pronounced here?
Optional. Absolutely optional. But a couple of things too, and that's what's weird about all this season as well, and it's everywhere. Home field advantage is out the door. That's why when people talk about MLS is back, I'm like, does it really matter? First few games, maybe Orlando, Miami, Houston, that maybe they kind of had a little bit of an advantage because they're used to playing in pea soup with all the humid weather. But after that, you kind of acclimate. But now it's like, okay, maybe you're a little more comfortable because you're sleeping in your own bed, you're playing in your stadium, whatever. The little nuances of the layout of the ground, is your field a yard or two wider than the opponent, whatever. But in the big picture of things, you don't have that ambiance that, hey, we have the ball, our fans are behind us, and that helps, kind of get the adrenaline going. That's out the window. So I think sways a little bit more to the road teams, not having quite the disadvantage. Because if you go back over history in this league, it is amazing. Take a look at the final standings the last few years and take a look at how well certain teams did at home and conversely how awful they were on the road. A couple of years ago, I believe it was New England was like 11-5 5 at home, or like 11-2-3, something like that at home. But I think it was 11 wins at home and 1 win on the road. Wow. I mean, it's mind-boggling, some of these things that happen. I think there'll be a little more parity in that regard. What's weird, too, they lost to Portland August 1st. They're going to play Red Bulls August 20th. 19 games in between without a game, and then they're going to play 6 games in 23 days.
Yeah.
So to go into that stretch, I think it's easy to get ready for this run of games when you know it's against your biggest rival. So I think that's going to be fun and interesting to see. Some, a couple of changes here and there with Red Bulls, but I think the big thing for New York City, worry about yourself. What are you going to do? And most importantly, are the guys up front you're paying to score goals going to be able to score you some goals?
And as far as the approach for broadcasting these games, the majority of them are going to be on Yes Network. But are you going to be do we know for sure you're going to be home? You're going to be at the stadium or from a booth at Yes Network? How's it going to work out?
Can we put you on a drone over the game? Joe, think about it.
See, this is where we need like the Jetsons, right? We're bringing up Memorex. Let's bring up the Jetsons, right? We need like some floating, just like a hovercraft kind of thing.
I think you kill it.
We'll just be up above the stadium. I'll be like over like 10 yards inside one half. Ian will be 10 yards inside the other half. So we're socially distanced. We'll have this overhead.
We'll know better about offside,
and we'll go
right?
for it.
You guys will.
We'll know better, and we'll see how adventuresome some of the players are. If a center back all of a sudden turns and says, "I'm gonna see if I can." Not only am I going to clear the ball, I'm gonna see if I can knock that.
I can take that Southern California guy.
I'm gonna miss this penalty on purpose.
Exactly. So to your question, and information still coming in. We haven't been given the full plan yet. I still don't know for a fact. Am I going to have to get tested or not? Or is it a kind of a socially distanced environment? Because what I've been told is for home games, we will be at Red Bull Arena. And for the road games, which we've done a lot, we'll be up in Stamford at the Yes facility there. And to my understanding, across the league has said that for away games, they don't want people traveling. There's even limited travel squad for team personnel. Outside of the players, coaches, and all that. The support staff that you bring is a very limited number. So trying to limit the amount of people in the stadium, they don't want us there for road games. So what that means for Red Bulls against NYCFC at Red Bull Arena in the first game in this restart, that's technically a road game. So we will not be at Red Bull Arena. We'll be up in Stamford. The understanding I have there, they have us in a little bit of a bigger room, where we'll be able to watch off the monitor, and from what I'm told, a plexiglass screen in between us. And I don't know the exact setup at the stadium yet, but it likely could be very similar. But for those 3 home games, we'll be at Red Bull Arena, and the other 3 we won't. Okay. To start with Red Bulls, to have everybody ratcheted up, ready to go in a derby, that's going to be fun.
All right. So, again, that match will be on Yes Network, Thursday, August 20th, 7 p.m. Called...
We have 5 of the 6 live on Yes, and the 6th one I think will start on Fox Sports Go, and then they'll put it on Yes after the game.
Cool. All right. That will be called by Joe Tolleson and Ian Joy on Yes Network. So make sure to tune in. Joe Tolleson, thank you so much for joining us on NYCFC at Home.
My pleasure. Anytime.
All right, baby, let's do a little match preview presented by EA Sports. He's like, yo, who's next? Thanks again to Joe Tolleson. Absolutely wonderful. Don't forget to catch all the matches that you can on the Yes Network, right? Great place to watch NYCFC, because where else are you watching? You can't go to the match, okay?
Okay, and don't show up, all right?
Yeah, please don't show up.
So thank you again, Joe Tolleson. So look, obviously, again, Hudson River Derby this Thursday, August 20th, 7 p.m. Make sure to tune in. As far as the predictions, Alexis, what are we thinking this game's going to look like?
I think it's going to be 1-0 NYCFC. I think it's going to be I want to say they're going to jabbing and see what's happening, but I think both teams play
just a note, please. Nobody punch each other.
Nobody punching. I mean, it's like
get sent off.
Yeah. No, we don't want this to be a 3-on-3. Okay, with a lot of reds. I think what's going to happen. I think it's going to be both teams press so heavily now, right? I don't think it's going to be one of these wide open matches. I think it's going to be very much box to box. And I think it's going to be whichever team makes the first mistake. And with new players, I can see Red Bull being the team that makes that mistake. I can see this being either a 1-0 or a 2-1 NYCFC win.
Okay, I don't think I don't expect Rebels to defend so well. They made
but it's the derby though. It's different, no?
It is, but I'm not saying it's going to be an incredible scoreline or whatever. But I think 2-0 NYCFC. I think I think James Sands is who I'm focusing on in this game to be strong in the defensive midfield. I don't know whether he's playing center back, whether he's playing defensive mid. But he is the main
defensive mid though, didn't he?
Yeah,
he seemed like he was stopping everything.
Because that battle for the midfield and kind of handling that press is a lot of that responsibility is going to be on him and probably Alex Ring as well.
Which is why I think it's going to be so box to box. I don't think it's going to be tons and tons of opportunities. The one thing that I fear with Red Bulls is their ability to sort of cut in from the flank, from the wings. They like to send in a lot of crosses, but without a BWP there, they really don't seem to have a lot of firepower up front, and maybe that's changed. We're going to see. But I do see NYCFC really being able to maybe spring a counter on them because they do love to send a lot of people forward, and I think that's where NYCFC are going to have the advantage.
Yeah, and then just simply for the fact that, Maxi Morales I hope he's 100%, or at least much closer to.
¿Qué pasa, animal?
I'll take 60%.
60% Maxi is all right.
Maxi, can you walk? Get out there, buddy. Let's see what you got.
Can you crawl? You know what? I think you're still good enough for this game.
Right? We'll make do.
So, again, make sure to tune in to the Hudson River Derby on Yes Network Thursday at 7 p.m., August 20th. All right. So let us wrap up. Thank you for tuning in to another NYCFC at Home with the Cooligans, presented by El Jimador.